In this video, you will learn about vocabulary. Vocabulary is situated within the language comprehension factor in the simple view of reading. With vocabulary, we aren't focused on word identification, but word meaning. Without understanding word meaning, our language comprehension suffers, and therefore our reading comprehension suffers. On the reading rope, we see the simple view of reading fleshed out a bit. You can see here that vocabulary is one of the strands on the language comprehension side of the rope. When we look at the four-part processing model, you will see that now we are looking at the meaning processor and sometimes the context processor when thinking about word recognition. Here are some important terms for thinking about vocabulary. Vocabulary is knowledge of and memory for oral word meanings. Receptive vocabulary are words whose meanings one can recognize when reading or listening to others speak. Expressive vocabulary are words one uses in speaking and writing. Here are some important findings about the importance of vocabulary. Vocabulary knowledge is one of the great predictors of school success. Vocabulary knowledge accounts for over 80% of the difference in reading comprehension among readers. Children who come to school already knowing thousands of words, including English language learners, are already on the path to reading. But children who come from language-deprived backgrounds, including English language learners, are already behind and must receive specific attention to get on track for reading. From where do you think we acquire the most rare words? Is it from television, from our parents, from reading? In a 1988 study by Hayes and Ahrens, results showed how many rare words per 1,000 words were present in the sources listed in the table. Notice that well-written children's books contain more rare words than educational television shows or even adult speech. These results underscore the importance of exposing children to books through reading aloud to them and through their own independent reading. There are 3 tiers of vocabulary. Tier 1 words are basic words that occur frequently in our language, such as dog, cat, or house. Tier 2 words are fairly high-frequency words in adult language, and they occur across several domains, such as the word spectacular or coincidence. Tier 3 words are more low-frequency words found in specific domains, such as isotope, or fulcrum, or denominator. Tier 2 words represent the bulk of vocabulary instruction. How well do you know a word? We can think about this in 3 levels of word knowledge. Words that are unknown, words that we are acquainted with or have encountered before, and words that were well established. Michael Graves, a leading vocabulary researcher, identified 4 interrelated components that should be present in order to optimize vocabulary growth. Provide rich and varied language experiences. Teach individual words. Teach word learning strategies. Foster word consciousness. Now that we have talked about the importance of vocabulary and the classification of words, let's shift our focus to vocabulary instruction. As stated in the 4-part vocabulary plan, some words should be taught directly. Here are the steps for teaching an explicit or direct vocabulary lesson. First, pronounce the word, write it, and read it. Then tell the students what the new word means, using a student-friendly definition or visual and experiential supports. Say more about the word. Use the word several times while giving examples of its use and saying what it is not. Ask questions about the word's meaning that can be answered with yes or no, and elicit word use by the students. Next, I will show you some semantic maps that can be used to reinforce vocabulary knowledge and increase depth of knowledge of the word. This one is a concept map that provides information about what the word is and is not, as well as some examples. This map is called a semantic feature analysis. It is a chart that lists words, usually tier 3 content words, across the top. Various features or characteristics are listed. For each of the vocabulary words, a check mark can be placed under the characteristics that apply to the word. In this example, we see a feature analysis for animal groups. For the word amphibians, we would place a check under hop, but we would not place a check under has wings. The Frayer model is another easy method to extend vocabulary practice. A blank organizer can be provided as a handout, or it can be drawn by students. An easy way for students to create one is to fold a sheet of paper in half, then in half again, to create 4 squares within the folds. Students can then label each of the 4 squares and write the word at the intersection of the folds. With the Frayer model, students write the definition, some characteristics of the word, some examples, and some non-examples. The vocab strategy is a mnemonic device for verify, organize, communicate, assess, and build. With this strategy, students are given a list of words that are somehow related to one another. The teacher verifies the list of words, and the students write them on index cards. Students then organize the cards to show their relationship. Next, students communicate their organization strategy to a partner. Then, assessment of the organization occurs as the class discusses how each other's associations are the same or different. Finally, students build on their understanding by adding new related words to their diagram. Using a word line allows students to organize words by using their shades of meaning. The teacher provides the words and asks students to organize them in a certain way. In this example, the words are organized from slowest to fastest with crawl, stroll, walk, jog, run, and sprint. Now that we have talked about vocabulary instruction, let's talk about assessment. The vocabulary knowledge scale uses a 1 to 4 rating scale. The teacher gives a word, then the students rate themselves from 1 to 4. A rating of 1 means that I have never heard of the word, and a rating of 4 means I have a deep understanding of the word. Think about how you would rate the word boat. What about the word cottage? What about the word sagacious? Here are a few other ways to assess vocabulary knowledge. Have students write the taught word in a sentence, then score the use of the word from 0 to 2, with the 2 reflecting mastery. You can use the Dibbles word use fluency assessment, where students generate a sentence with the target word. The vocabulary screener from the Consortium on Reading Excellence, where the student reads a word, then chooses one of 3 words that has a similar meaning. And other curriculum-based measures, and these measure the words that have been taught as part of the curriculum.